Oh yes, it's time for a break. It's a AdamCarolla subreddit. It's right. It's not a sub forum for everyone who gets it on me for calling it a sub forum. It's a subreddit. It's the AdamCarolla subreddit, and it's my reprieve. I laugh here for some reason. It's been like decades. I used to listen to AdamCarolla a lot. He was really funny back in the day. Now I just laugh at what goes on in this in the sub forum. Yeah, I know. Reddit on the subreddit. So this post got me. I remember this guy. I remember this guy. I don't want to talk about this guy. So here it is, posted by ACF 530. Were you born on May 30th? I want to know. Okay. A few years ago, I made a short film that is not, capital not, I'm sarcastically using all caps, not at all about the time AC, that is not, what is it, the congressman from New York? What's her name's AC too, right? I can't remember. AdamCarolla told me I wasn't a good enough actor to be in Road Hard. Oh, that's hard to take. All right. Thought folks here might enjoy it or not. All right. So you're trying to be funny. I watched your video and I actually don't think I watched it in full the first time you posted it years ago, but I did watch it in full now because it's been so long. And I forgot the entire story, even though I had remembered it years ago, which is that Adam crowdfunded the movie Road Hard. Now, I'm doing a podcast here to kind of lay out some things that are just, they are funny, they are sad, but they are also funny. And so let's just talk about them, right? Let's talk about AdamCarolla's movie career for fun. All right. There was a movie called The Hammer. The Hammer is the last movie that I ever rented from Blockbuster. Okay, that is a true statement. I rented from Blockbuster in Burke, Virginia. That is the last. I only went there for AdamCarolla's movie, and I watched it with my then wife, and she said, it wasn't that great. But The Hammer was actually a watchable movie, and if you saw The Hammer, you would think that it is an actual movie produced by actual professionals. That was the first movie. That was not, I believe, a crowdfunded movie. That was pre-crowdfunding. And this is Blockbuster days. This was pre-crowdfunding. So Adam made that movie, whatever. He actually took some hits to the face doing sparring, doing the acting in that movie. And I think it actually caused him brain damage because I remember him talking about it on the podcast, taking like hits to the head, doing the filming with boxing against a good boxer. And that was, like I said, it's his version of Rocky. Not a bad movie. Let's be honest. But then after that, years later, it was like time to do a rom-com. This is where the start of the end happened, in my opinion. So this is a crowdfunded movie, and he offered all these different rewards, like things that you would get if you donated. And one of them was $10,000 to be in the movie, like credited, and actually have at least a line or something in the movie, right? This guy paid it. This guy, Aaron Foster, I guess his name is. Yeah, ACF, right? Aaron Foster. That makes a lot of sense. Well, how long have you been on here? 5 years. Okay, so he pays the money, and then along with his reward, but a lot of other rewards like didn't get delivered. There were T-shirts, there were posters, there were whatever, there were DVD copies, all these things. Like nothing happened the way it should as promised. It was really a mess. And there's a joke in the subforum about people saying that when they ordered a T-shirt, some of them got sent the wrong size T-shirt. So you ordered a large, you got a women's small, right? And Adam's solution was that all of his fans should go and meet up and exchange T-shirts for the right sizes, which is hilarious. But it's sad that there were whatever, T-shirts are T-shirts. This guy paid $10,000, and Adam somehow convinced him not to be in the movie. How did he convince you of that, dude? I'll interview you and have you on one of these AdamCarolla subreddit podcasts to talk about this. If this is still, what is it, chewing at your craw or whatever? What's the word for that? where you still obviously hold, I would harbor resentment too. He made a movie, like a mini movie, but he made a mini movie about this where he shares a taco with another man in the first minute. That didn't need to be done. That wasn't where this movie was going, dude. But point is can you imagine spending, I've never spent $10,000 on anything, even a car. That doesn't count because you don't pay $10,000 up front a lot of times. I don't think I've forked out $10,000 cash for an event, anything, even a vacation. And he did this, and sure enough, Adam wouldn't let him in the movie. Now, what does that say about, like, why? Like, has Adam addressed this? I think he did address it once slightly, but like, how weird are you, man? Aaron, how weird are you that he can't even let you have a line? That's what I don't understand. Unless there's another element to this, and just maybe I'll dig into some potential psychology here. Maybe Adam is so annoyed that someone would be able to buy their way into a movie, and Adam wanted his own movie, and he found his own reason to dislike you for whatever reason. It doesn't even matter. But he didn't like the fact that maybe he thought you were like a rich kid who came in and bought his way into a movie, buying his way into Hollywood. And he just resented it as what he would call a carpenter from the valley, whatever, right? So he just wanted to be a dick and not let you be in the movie. That is potentially what happened. If that's the case, then Adam becomes a guy you really don't want to like, right? So I would like to know what Adam's explanation is, because maybe there is another one. First of all, Aaron, you are a little weird. As someone who is weird myself, I can respect weirdness. I have more subscribers than you, dude. I have over 1,000. I have like about 1,000 more subscribers than you. That's fucked up. But wait, I guess I'm getting big time. I got noticed the other day. Got noticed by somebody, and they were like, "I know you. You can't remember from YouTube." And I was like, "Holy shit! That's the first time that's ever happened to me." So anyway. Point is, if you'd like to talk about your experience, and you've met the Ace Man. I have never met the Ace Man. I just walked into the studio unannounced once, but never met him. Then we can have a discussion about that. Otherwise, that's your AdamCarolla subreddit podcast for the day. Or should we talk about today's show thread with Gina Carano? Let's do bonus footage. I read this previously, and something made me laugh here, which was, okay, the new person that they hired to do show descriptions, a difficult job, I would imagine. Like, it is tough. But what is this paragraph? Adam discusses how his dog is yakking and looking for fabric before showing an example of how wash me art has evolved over the years. I'm speechless. The gang is joined by author and journalist Arthur Burnow to talk about his new book, The Butler in the World: How Britain keeps the world's worst people alone. Yeah, they do. British people will turn a blind eye if they can cut a commission on it. I've learned that. Same with the Swiss, but the Swiss are a little classier. The British will do it with anything. He explains how people have skewed impression of Britain. Yeah, we do. How oligarchs are being transformed into aristocrats. Does the audience, even Adam's audience who's listening to this, understand what these words even mean? Aristocrats, that's a joke. That's a movie, right? And how the defamation laws are limiting press. Fantastic. Boy, comedy podcast right there. Gina Grad, co-host, Gina, maybe not, reports the news today, including parade shooter. Okay, that sounds reasonable. 7 counts of murder. Yeah. Danny Bonaducci's health update. Yes, that I'm interested in. All that smoking for all that period of time. I'm wondering how that's going on. After that, we've got MMA fighter Gina Carano. Gina, after Adam must be responding to our thread about him saying motorin 11 times, because here you have, he's on the anti-motoring now. He's car and no. There's no cars in Gina Carano's name. So he's pissed off that we made fun of him for being a drug slob, saying motor motor. Can we hear this? No, here we go.
So weird. So how do you give a kid a motor? Like, we have kids. Everyone wants to talk about training, education, exposure to the arts and all this other bullshit. It's really motor. It's like, you have a motor. You have a motor. You had a motor. You do have a motor. You're born with a motor. Some people don't have the motor. How do we get the motor going in people? That's the question. Do your kids have a motor, or is it too young to tell?
I think they do. I mean, I think
Of course, Mario, your kids have a motor. All right, what on earth was that, right? That was somebody trying to say the same thing over and over again because they can't find different words. Let me try to expand on what I think Adam's trying to say in the most positive light, because even though he communicated that very redundantly, what he is saying, which is, how do you give people not just a motor, but the motivation to be more than average, to put forth more effort than you would think naturally, to not just do the least amount possible, to do something greater, to go out and hustle for that hustle. It's about hustles. It's just like, what can you do to get people motivated? The answer is, well, and you hear the terms family and education all the time. Well, when you have surroundings that are more amenable to you being productive and not being in fear or hunger or when your daily life is not involved with just survival and all the elements that go along with survival and having, a safe place to live and food to eat and all those things, when you can have some free time to do other things, you can develop passions for all types of different disciplines and areas of study. So it is not that I think people don't have motors as much as people feel like even if they had a motor, a lot of times there's a hopelessness out there for those that just are dealing with, I would say, I wasn't thinking to go in this way on the podcast, but it's an important topic, which is, why don't people have motors? If Adam's actually right, why aren't kids motivated today? Why don't people want to work? The answer was, well, people don't want to work for, $15 an hour fast food, having your schedule moved around all the time for no benefits, when that can't even buy a down payment on a car if you work there for 5 months. So why should anyone have a motor to work in fast food? And the answer is, well, the people that work in fast food probably don't have a motor. And that's the reason why you can't fill that job. It doesn't pay and it's not fun. But there are people who are not necessarily even getting highly educated, but just on their own, like designing robots and stuff that make their own pizzas and fill their own drinks and serve you stuff, so that you don't even need to have a human being doing a job that clearly nobody wants. You can automate the procedure. So there are people that are motivated to do that type of work to make other people's lives better. And they are exhibiting that motor in terms of, I've seen different stores. There's one in San Francisco or something, like the automated pizza making place, like stuff like that. Different things are coming up everywhere. And there's also robots and assembly lines and stuff like with Tesla that are crazy and manufacture things and remove a lot of elements that humans used to do. The old days of Detroit people on a assembly line building old GMC cars are gone, and they're gone not only because they're not efficient, not effective, but they're gone because we've advanced and robots are just so much better that you now can't even compete with a company that's building their things with automated technology. So the motor that you speak of still exists in the hearts of many. And unfortunately, you may see in your day-to-day life, because you see so many people, a lot of people that don't have a motor, because in the nature and the communication with which you see them, they're in a position where nobody likes working fast food. That's the one thing that I never did in all the jobs I've done, is I never worked fast food. Now, I did work at a pizza putt in Vermont, working the front desk. And then for a couple of days, I actually washed the dishes in the back. That sucked balls. I didn't even serve, whatever, but I did wash the dishes. That stunk and it sucked. So I can tell you that fast food sucks and no one should have to work fast food. It should all be robotic with just a couple people there checking to make sure the robots are working. So that is what that gibberish where he said motor 100 times can relate to, is that people do have motors, and human beings, kids today, generations. I've seen kids since I was a kid, and kids today, they're similar. They're pretty darn similar. I think that it's not anybody who tries to talk about generations not wanting to do something. I do say that there is certainly a younger generation that, and every younger generation is like this. You have more of your life supposedly ahead of you. So you think differently about how you want the world to be with global warming and stuff like that. If the climate changes dramatically over the next 30 years, then that affects your lifespan differently than if you're 70 or 80 years old, where you're probably not going to live that long. So there are certainly different ways that your political views are affected by your generation. But to say that people don't have a motor, depending on what age they are, our kids today, is just gibberish, Adam. And I hope I proved that to you. All right. So that's the Adam Carolla subreddit subforum podcast for the day. If what's his name? Aaron Rodgers. What the hell's his name? Is he a quarterback? Where'd that guy go? ACF. Aaron, what was it? Aaron Foster. There you go. All right. He's not Aaron Rodgers. At least not yet. All right. Good luck, guys. I hope your podcasts are all listenable.